You've been here before, haven't you? The road ahead is slick with rain, and your headlights barely touch the wet black ribbon curling through the palms. It's quiet in the cruiser, too quiet, even with the wipers swaying back and forth, even with the radio humming low. Some part of you knows the silence is wrong. Your fingers tap the steering wheel. Your badge rests against your chest like an old scar. The storm presses in from the east, a crawling wall of mist and memory. Somewhere back in dispatch, someone's still logging calls. But you're not there anymore. You're here, in this place. This stretch of Florida where the maps forget to draw lines, and the lines forget to end. You were called here, you always are. The whisper in your ear didn't use words, just a frequency, just a pulse, a hum that settled into the back of your teeth like pressure from a deep dive. You tried to ignore it, to tell yourself it was just another long night shift, just another stretch of midnight with too much caffeine and too little sleep. But then the scanner lit up no code, no coordinates, just that soft static. It's always the static. The first time you heard it, it came from a patrol unit that didn't exist. The second time, it came from your own voice, saying your name. Backward, you told yourself it was a glitch, that your department-issued radio couldn't possibly pick up anything from the salt marshes, from the drowned sugar fields, from the sunken parts of Florida that never dried out after the hurricanes. But you know better now. That sound doesn't come from towers, or tapes or towers. It comes from them, from the things that don't sleep, that don't forget, that remember your footsteps when the pavement ends, the ones that breathe softly from inside the radio, that giggle just behind the whisper, that call you by badge number and birth name like they've been watching since the day you were sworn in. You're not crazy. You're not alone. You've seen the footprints where no feet walked. You've traced the bloody handprints on windows that don't open. You've stood on the shoulder of a rural road and stared at a foggy tree line where the shape never blinked, never moved, never left. You've opened motel doors with no hinges. You've read reports you don't remember writing. You've heard children laughing in swamps with no airboats nearby. And you've tasted the salt of fear on your tongue, even when no one else did. They say Florida is a paradise, a place where people come to escape. But you know that's only half true, because there are places in Florida where the swamp remembers. There are sections of road that don't stay in place, where time bends, where towns flicker on and off like failed radio stations, where the GPS fails, but the signal, that signal remains. You can follow it. You always do. You've followed it tonight. The seat beneath you creaks. The clock on the dash blinks 12 o'clock. Not midnight, not noon, just 12 o'clock, as if time itself has refused to go any further. The rain has stopped now, but the windows are still beading. The condensation is thicker inside than out. That's not normal. That's never normal. You reach for the recorder. It's warm in your palm, as if it's been running already. You press play. A red light blinks. There's no sound. Not yet. But there will be, because you've brought it with you. Each call, each report, each unsolved case they never released to the press. It's all inside you now, and tonight, you're going to remember, not because you want to, but because something else wants you to. It never ended on a 1A. It never ended in the Everglades. It never ended in the trailers or the dunes or the watchtowers. Those were just the beginning, the test runs, the fragments. This is the story of what's been happening all along, of what's still out there, of what never stopped watching. You can shut off the lights. You can lock your cruiser. You can call for backup. But deep down, you know, there's no one left to answer. Only echoes. Only recordings. Only the static dot. And the static never stops. Close your eyes now. Take a breath. The tape is rolling. Let me show you what they never wanted logged. Let me take you where the calls don't end. Because this is Florida, and Florida doesn't forget. You shouldn't have taken the long way, but something tugged at you. A pull just behind your ribs. Not panic, not curiosity. A kind of gravity. Something familiar in a road you've only driven once. Maybe twice. Maybe not at all. A 1A at night is beautiful when it wants to be. The ocean's just over the dunes. Invisible behind the black, but present in sound. Waves rolling, falling, sighing like something half asleep. The wind slides through the palms, brushing your cruiser like a whisper that knows your name. You. Check the rear view, no headlights. No one behind you for miles. You're alone, of course you are. This section of road stretches too long for comfort. Houses stop, streetlights thin. The last liquor store passed 15 minutes ago. Even the GPS turned to grey bars 5 minutes back, and then the radio crackled. Not a call, not even a voice, just a single sharp sound, like someone exhaling. Through teeth, then silence. You clicked the channel twice, switched to dispatch, nothing. Then came the second sound. It wasn't static this time. It was a voice, your voice, but slow, as if dragged through thick mud, repeating your own call sign. A unit number you don't remember using. Maybe it was from years ago. Maybe from a shift that never happened. Or maybe from a recording someone else made. You said nothing. You pressed the brake gently, and that's when you saw it. The van, a grey minibus, parked just off the shoulder on the sand. Doors shut. Headlights off. No hazard lights. No tire tracks behind or beside it. Just there. As if it was lowered. From the sky, you rolled past slowly, trying not to stop. But something in the rear view pulled at you again. You turned around, pulled up behind it, put your cruiser in park. The engine ticked as it cooled. The wipers swayed one last time. The rain, for now, had stopped. But the windshield still shimmered with the memory of motion. You grabbed your flashlight, stepped out. The sand crunched wrong under your boots. Too dry for this weather. You clicked on your light and swept it along the side of the van. There. Beneath the sliding door, smeared in something dark and muddy. Help me. The letters were shaky, almost wiped away by the storm. But they were there. You didn't imagine it. You radioed in. Said the words calmly. Unidentified vehicle. No plate. Possible distress marking. Requesting backup. K9, if possible. Silence, then a delay, then a slow, garbled confirmation. Backup en route. ETA, 8 minutes. It sounded like someone whispering underwater. You took a breath, stepped closer. The van's windows were tinted black. No movement. You approached. The driver sighed and tried to peer in. No light inside. Only a fogged window and the faintest suggestion of shape. A figure, slumped or crouching. You tapped on the glass. No response. You knocked again, louder. Then the figure moved. Just a flick of motion, like someone rising from a crouch. You leaned back, startled. The sliding door hissed open. The man fell out, mid-30s, pale, wet, mud caked on his knees and elbows, eyes wide, lips trembling. He clutched something to his chest, wrapped in a towel. You raised your hand. ordered him to stop. He didn't listen. He lurched forward, staggering across the sand toward the dunes. You shouted again, drew your weapon but didn't fire. You chased him, boots slipping in wet sand. He disappeared into the dunes. You reached the slope and swept your light across the grass. No footprints, only churned ground, mud, sea grapevines twisting over the sand like veins, and something lying beneath them, the towel he'd carried. You stepped closer, kneeling. You peeled it back, slowly, inside. A pair of blood-soaked children's shoes, and a smear of red across the pale beach. Not enough blood for an adult, but just enough for a child. You radioed again, described what you saw, asked for medics, evidence support. Crime scene response. Then the headlights of backup flickered in the distance. You turned back to the towel, but something else caught your eye. A shape behind the dune. You stepped over the crest and saw it. A small yellow raincoat caked in mud, lying flat, hood up. No child inside, just the coat. You picked it up carefully, turning it over in your gloved hands. It felt wrong, like it had been placed there, like it was watching you. That's when you noticed the handprint etched into the sand. Just beyond the coat, small dot, too small. Fingers splayed, palm shallow. You looked up and saw nothing but mist. But you heard something, a giggle, not cruel, not kind, just mirthful, empty, joyful in a way that made your skin go cold. It echoed across the dunes. You called out, no answer. The rain began again, soft and irregular. The coat in your hand felt heavier now, wet. You turned back toward your cruiser. The man was gone, his van door still open, but the interior empty, no one in the seat, no signs of exit, no trace. You stepped closer, checked the back. Only one item, a cracked pager on the floor. You picked it up, muddy, covered in sea salt. The screen was dead, but the back had letters carved with something sharp. ECNO, badge number. No initials that matched dispatch. You pocketed it, and the static began again. Not from your radio, from the pager. Just a whisper, just a voice that wasn't quite yours. Detective, come find me. The van lights flickered, even though the keys weren't in the ignition and outside. By the edge of the sand, the yellow raincoat now stood upright, as if someone was wearing it, but there were no feet beneath the hem. You didn't run, you didn't move, you just stood there, breath held, listening to the soft rustle of plastic fabric in the breeze, and the sound of something much smaller, giggling, just beyond your light. Because the case didn't end that night, it began, and the static never stops. You swore you'd never patrol the canal roads alone again. But here you are. The gravel crackles beneath your tires as the cruiser crawls through the levee checkpoint. The sun went down an hour ago, but the sky never really darkens out here. Not with the swamp mist rising like smoke and the stars disappearing behind it. Just miles of black water on both sides of you, reeds tall as rooftops. The Everglades breathing low and heavy like some slumbering god. Your shift began with a routine noise complaint. A group of teenagers out spotlighting gators off an illegal airboat. You sighted them, confiscated the cooler, radioed it in. Done. Then came the second call. A voice you didn't recognize. Soft, muffled by wind and static. It came across the scanner without tone, without code, without even the click of dispatch. Just 5 words. Child on the canal bank. No location, no unit identifier. Just that. And somehow you turned the wheel. You didn't ask why, because you remembered. 2 weeks ago, another deputy heard a voice like that. Same words, same hour. He drove into the storm and never made it back. They found his cruiser abandoned in the sawgrass. Doors open, no signs of struggle, only a red lunchbox on the seat. Still cold, so you told no one. You just drove. The road narrowed now, the trees leaning in too close. Spanish moss drapes the canopy like funereal cloth. Your lights flicker, once, twice, then hold. The air smells of copper and lily pads. You grip the wheel tighter. It's quiet. Not the peaceful kind, the other kind. The kind of quiet where nothing chirps, nothing calls. The frogs hold their breath. Even the insects seem to wait. You stop the car. Something's on the road ahead. A shape small, you roll forward slowly. Tires, whispering over wet gravel. It's a girl, barefoot. She stands ankle-deep in the roadside ditch, her white dress clinging to her like a second skin. Long black hair hangs in thick, wet ropes down her back. Her arms are at her sides, still, not shivering. She doesn't look at you, but you feel it. She knows you're there. You step out, leave the engine running. Your boots sink half an inch into the soft shoulder. Are you okay? You whisper, though no one hears. She still doesn't turn. Then she begins to walk, not away from you, not toward you, but parallel to the canal. Slow, purposeful like. She's showing you something. You match her steps. Each footfall presses deeper into the mud. You try your radio. Dud not. Static, dead. You glance back at the cruiser. Its headlights are dimming. She walks on the reeds part around. Her like she's made of wind. You notice something then. She's not leaving footprints. Her feet press into the muck, but the ground doesn't. Hold her. You swallow, heart rising to your throat. She turns her head, just slightly, and you see her cheek pale, waxy, smudged with something dark near her ear. She speaks, but there's no sound, just the shape of words, and the shape is your name, your full name, not your badge. Name, not your street name, the name you haven't said in years. You freeze. Her lips move again, slower, like she's saying it backward. You feel the air shift, colder now, like autumn behind your ears. The canal beside you ripples. Not from wind, from breath. Something is exhaling below the surface. You hear it, that wet, deliberate sound of air forced through gills or rotting lungs. The girl stops walking, points. You follow her hand in the reeds. A shape crouches, just above the waterline. You think it's an animal at first. A gator maybe, but it moves wrong. Too fast, too upright, too aware, then it vanishes. Like mist sucked into vacuum, gone. You turn back. The girl is gone too. In her place is a toy, a music box. It sits in the mud. Gears exposed, winding itself with slow jerks. You kneel and pick it up. The key turns backward. The melody is wrong. Familiar notes, out of order. A lullaby warped by memory. Then it plays your voice, a recording. From your old body cam. You hadn't worn it tonight. The box trembles in your palm. It whispers, "Come home." The canal gurgles behind you. You spin around. The water is boiling, bubbling without heat and rising. A shape begins to emerge. Arms, outstretched, thin and glassy like bone trapped in jelly. You run. You don't know why, but you do. The girl's laughter echoes behind you. Bouncing off cypress and asphalt, you reach the cruiser throw. Yourself inside. Lock the doors. The engine's off. You never turned it off. The dashboard clock reads 3:33 a.m. The scanner crackles. A voice hums through. Not a child, not you. Something else, it says. You heard her. Come home. And then silence. The girl's reflection appears in your rear view. Just her. Eyes dot, smiling. Not evil, not kind, just certain. She lifts a hand, holds it against the glass from inside. 5 fingers, but one is missing. The static surges. You close your eyes, and when you open them again, the road is empty. No girl, no music box, no shape in the canal, only mud on your floorboard, and your own name, whispered from the scanner, like a bedtime prayer. Because this isn't a haunting, it's an invitation, and the static never stops. It always starts the same way. The call comes in quiet. Too quiet. You're sitting at the desk. Graveyard shift in the Tampa precinct. 2 hours until dawn. The city's asleep. The storm has passed. And the only sound is the soft hum of outdated computers and the warm flicker of a half-dead desk lamp. You've been a cop for long enough to know which nights breathe easy and which ones don't. This one breathes wrong. The air tastes like copper, and something in the way the building hums makes your bones feel like they're trying to remember a frequency you've never heard before. You sip cold coffee. The clock ticks like a hammer behind your eyes. Then your portable radio chirps. Once a single flick of sound, not dispatched from inside the building. You check the logs. Nothing. You check the comms feed. Still nothing. Then the call comes in again. Not a beep, not static. Not even words at first. Just breathing, wet, hollow, rhythmic. You lean back, headset still in your lap, and stare at the console. Your name appears on the monitor, but not typed, not submitted, etched, like someone dragged a razor across the screen's pixels, carving every syllable into glowing glass. Unit 9 to 14. Respond immediately. No address, just a time stamp. 313 A.M. But it's 2:47 now. You blink, the screen blinks with you dot, then it clears, blank. As if nothing happened, your headset buzzes softly, like it's been left running for too long. You lift it to your ear and hear yourself breathing. Not now, from yesterday, you recognize it. The way you say your own name. The little hitch in your voice you only make when you're alone in the car, saying things out loud you won't admit. You say you know the file because you deleted it. You deleted it, didn't you? Your fingers move toward the delete key again, but the console is frozen. A red light pulses in the corner of the screen. You open the playback folder. The same file is there, only now. It's marked with a date that hasn't come yet. Tomorrow night, 3:13. A.M. And the file is already 17 minutes long. You press play. Your voice comes through first. Static, rain, some road. You're saying the words like you don't realize you're being recorded. It's walking toward the car. It doesn't have a face. It doesn't stop. Then a pause. Then another voice. One you know too well. Your dispatcher's voice. Only. She's dead. Died last spring. Stroke. In her chair, they held a ceremony. You carried her urn, you know. She's gone, but she's on the tape, calling your name over and over, softly, kindly, as if nothing happened, as if she's still routing calls from the other room. Then she says, Unit 9 to 14, come inside. The storm is waiting. You slam the headset down, stand up. The monitor shuts off by itself. Whisper crawls through the wires. You're late. You stumble backward into the hallway. The overhead fluorescents flicker. The call center is empty. No dispatchers, no techs. Only the low mechanical hum of the backup generator spinning even though the power is on. You try your cell, no signal. You step back into the room. The screen is on again. Now it shows your cruiser's dashcam. Running live, but you're not in it. A shape is slumped in the passenger seat. Breathing, waiting, you call for backup. No one responds. You race to the garage. There it is, your car. Engine idling, doors unlocked, keys inside. But you never started it. And the smell, oh God. The smell like mildew and burnt wires and a house left shut too long in swamp heat. You open the driver's door. It's empty, but your mic is on. And your name is echoing through the speakers in your own voice. You sit reluctantly, and the radio comes alive. Dispatch is calling. Unit 9 to 14. Approaching location. Doors open. Rain incoming. You say nothing, because there's no rain tonight, just fog. Just heat. You drive anyway. Toward nothing. Toward. Wherever this is pulling you, the GPS glitches, blinks. The streets vanish from the screen. Only a circle remains. One black dot. One pulsing line. You follow it. You always do. Every turn leads deeper. The buildings around you get older, weathered, sun-bleached and forgotten. There are no lights now, just the low hum of your engine and the shallow hiss of your own voice repeating from the speakers. You park when the signal stops. An old warehouse, abandoned. Years ago, you know it. A failed cold storage facility, arsoned out, burned through, never repaired. You step out of the cruiser. Your boots crunch on broken glass and gravel. You shine your flashlight inside. Rows of empty shelves, molding boxes, and then a desk, covered in dispatch slips. All of them yours. Every call you've ever answered, and some you haven't. Some haven't happened yet. One in particular stands out. Tomorrow's date, 3 to 13. A.M.A, location marked in red ink. You look it up. It doesn't exist. But you'll drive there anyway, because you'll hear the voice, because the static never stops. You take the slip and slide it into your vest pocket. Behind you, the scanner still hums from inside the cruiser. You return to the driver's seat, check the logs. A new file is recording. You play it. It's you, now breathing, speaking, dispatch. It's happening again. And behind your voice, another sound grows. A child giggling, faint, distant, but there. Then silence. You check. The mirror. Nothing behind you, but you feel it. The pressure of something sitting in the passenger seat. The air is colder there. You don't look. You just drive. And behind you, your own voice whispers. Unit 9 to 14. Come in. Because this isn't a call you'll ever finish. This is where the echoes begin. This is where the names fade. This is where time loops back on itself, and you realize the calls never stopped. They've always been coming. From here, from the place you never left. The place inside the signal. Because this is dispatch, and the static never stops. You remember the drive more than the destination, that long southern stretch past Marathon, where US1 becomes a tightrope between sea and sky, nothing but ocean on either side, the sun fading behind you like it's giving up, and the road, blinking under salt-stained light posts that flicker without rhythm. You shouldn't be here, not on this shift, not after what happened last time. But the call came in through the encrypted line, a distress beacon from an abandoned Coast Guard watchtower 2 miles off Key West. You'd logged this location once before. Years ago, the tower was decommissioned. No boats were allowed within a half-mile radius, and yet the signal was coming in clear. Strong, stronger than it should. Beacon 33, code violet. Those were the words. No further instructions. You didn't call it in. You didn't tell dispatch. You just drove, because something in the way the frequency curled under your skin, the way it slipped between your bones and memory, you knew this wasn't the kind of call you could ignore. The water is calm when you arrive, unnaturally calm. The harbour master gives you a look but doesn't speak, just tosses you the keys to the Zodiac and mutters, "You won't see anything in the dark, but they'll see you." You don't ask what that means. You start the motor. The engine hums like it's trying to whisper something. You glide across. The water, each swell reflects back the stars in perfect, unmoving detail, too perfect, the kind of mirror that lies. Then you see it, rising out of the ocean like the last spine of a drowned city, a single steel watchtower, red light pulsing at its crown, rust climbing the pylons, wind shrieking through its hollow bones. It's supposed to be dead, but the beacon is active. You anchor, climb the rusted ladder. Your boots clang against the metal grating. Each footstep echoes far longer than it should. Inside, the air is dry, too dry. The salt has been scraped away, as if the sea refused to touch this place. You step into the control room. Everything is intact. Switches, maps, an old rotary radio, and logbook. You touch it, the leather is warm. You open the cover, the ink is still wet. The last entry is dated tonight. It reads 3:17 A.M. He's climbing the ladder now. You freeze, the wind dies. You turn toward the ladder, hatch nothing, but it feels like something is watching you from below the deck, like a gaze that doesn't require eyes. You scan the room. The windows offer a perfect view of the water, but nothing moves, no boats, no wind, just black water and red light. Then the rotary radio crackles, click, spin, your voice, but not from the present, a memory, dispatch. I'm on Beacon 33. The tower's active, logbooks warm, requesting. Your voice distorts, warps, then becomes a child's voice, repeating your words in a slower sing-song tone. He's climbing, climbing, climbing. The window fogs. A handprint forms on the inside. Small. You didn't touch the glass. You didn't breathe hard. You look down. There's a trail, tiny, wet footprints across the metal floor, leading from the radio to the ladder hatch. You kneel, peer. Down, darkness. But you hear it. A soft scuff, a scraping, something small climbing up the steel rungs. You back away. The logbook lies open. The next entry now written, ink still moving. 3:19 a.m. He knows. You slam it shut. Turn to the radio. Try to call out. Only static. And then, over that static, Morse code. 3 letters. E-C-U. Know them now. You've seen them before. On the pager from A1A. On the console in Tampa. You realize the logbook was not tracking previous officers. It was tracking you. Live. You grab it, and something beneath the floor groans. Metal shifts. The whole tower sways. The hatch bursts open. Nothing emerges. But the cold comes. In like a breath. Sharp, intentional. You hear humming now. Low and layered, as if many small voices are singing the same off-key song. You back into the corner. The beacon above pulses faster. Red, red, red dot, then black, then your flashlight dies. Only darkness, only breath, only the sound of small bare feet on metal. Coming closer, you close your eyes, say nothing. Hope it doesn't see you, but it already does, because it left the footprints, because it left the logbook open, because it's always been up here, waiting for someone to return. The floor beneath you vibrates. The tower groans again. You see your own breath now. A shadow rises in front of you. Short, thin, no features, only the outline of a child with a round head, and in its arms, your old radio. The one you broke in 2017. The one they buried with the evidence. Box from that case, you won't talk about it. Presses a button. Your voice plays again, begging for help. Then silence. Then the whisper. Climb down. You obey, not because you want to, but because you always do. You descend the ladder, each rung cold, slick, unfamiliar, like you're touching a staircase to nowhere. When you reach the bottom, the zodiac is gone. Only a dark patch of water remains. You stand on the pylon's lowest ring, staring into the ocean. You see your reflection, but it's not you, it's younger, smiling, wearing the old badge. And beside your reflection, a second shape, child, size, grinning, you. Turn your head, nothing's there, only waves, only static in your earpiece. The last words you hear. Before the tower light dies, we logged you, now we wait. And then nothing, because Beacon 33 never stops broadcasting, and the static never stops. You didn't choose this case, it chose you. The call came mid-morning, just as the heat broke and the clouds began to gather fat, bruised clouds that hung over the Everglades like warnings. A missing boy, 4 years old, last seen near a family campsite west of Pahokee, near the WATR LINE. You volunteered to take the call, not because it was your jurisdiction, but because your hands had already started shaking, and you knew they wouldn't stop until you went. The airboat rattles beneath you now. It stinks of old gasoline and algae. You ride low, carving through the reeds as the pilot, a weathered game warden named Slade, shouts coordinates into the wind, but you aren't listening because you see it already. Just ahead, floating on, the current, a child's stuffed bear, bloated with water, fur, matted and trailing silt like tendrils. Slade slows. You reach out, pull it aboard. It's heavy. Too heavy, you flip it over. There, stitched into the neck, are 3 initials. EC. Your blood goes cold. It can't be the same, but it is. You don't speak. You just clutch the bear and nod forward. Slade revs the fan and steers toward a patch of mangroves. The sky begins to spit. Fat drops of rain hammer the water, erasing all trace of direction. But something out here is guiding you anyway. Not scent, not trail, memory, your memory, except you've never been here before, have you? The airboat cuts through a thicket of reeds, and then you see it, a half-submerged dock, broken, rotted, ancient. At the end of it, a single child's shoe rests upright, toes pointing toward the water. Slade curses softly, reaches for the radio. You step off without him. Your boots sink into the muck. Cold seeps through the soles. The shoe is red, a rain boot, the kind you saw in the dunes last week, or last year, or maybe in a dream you can't forget. You crouch, careful not to disturb it. There's something inside. A playing card, water dash, warped, the Jack of Spades. You don't touch it. You just look out over the black water and feel it looking back. Something ripples. Not a fish, not a gator, something deeper, something slower. You step off the dock, wade into the water, up to your knees. Then your waist, Slade, is shouting behind you. You can't hear him anymore. You reach the center of the pool. It's warm, too warm. You reach down, fingertips grazing the muck, and you find it a second bear, identical, wrapped in a child's jacket, the yellow one. You pull it up, hold it to your chest, and that's when you feel the hand, small, wet, clutching yours. You don't scream, you freeze. Then you turn. No one's there, only water, only reeds, only the feeling of something retreating. You return to the boat, Slade says. Nothing, he sees it in your face. You leave the water behind, but you don't leave alone that night. Back at the precinct, you can't sleep. The bear sits on your desk, dry now, its glass eyes staring at the evidence tag. You attach to its arm. You labeled it Exhibit C, but you know it by other letters. E, C. You open your locker and find the same bear. You didn't put it there. You didn't take it from the scene. But it's here, anyway. You turn it over, inside the stitching. He drowned here. No name, no date. Just that. And then, the radio flickers. A call tone you haven't heard in years. A child's voice whispers, "Detective, he's still here." You step outside, into the rain, into the parking lot. The puddles are rising. You look down, there, in the reflection of the street lamp. A face, not yours. A boy's wide, dash-eyed mouth. Open, whispering something behind the waterline. You crouch. The puddle ripples. The voice comes clearer. "Let me go." Then a giggle. Then silence. Then the street lamp above you explodes, showering sparks. You stagger. Back, your reflection is gone. Only the puddle remains, and something below it, sinking. You rush back inside. The locker is empty now. No bear, no jacket, no card. Only a recording on your desk, still running, still capturing the rain, and beneath the white noise, one final whisper: he never left the water. Because some calls don't want to be solved. Some children don't want to be found. Some bears don't want to dry, and the static never stops.